Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad, and today we're going to cover QDTE. What is QDTE? And we're actually going to go over a live trade that I have on QEDT. So without any further ado, let's talk about it. So QDTE is the Innovation 100 0 DTE, which is date to expiration, so 0 days. So looking at their website, they say a 67% distribution rate. My numbers are slightly different, but we'll go over that here shortly. What I like about it, it's weekly distributions, right? It's high potential income, harnesses volatility of the market, right? Big disclaimer down here. The fund currently expects but does not guarantee to make distributions on a weekly basis. These distributions may exceed the fund's income and gains for the fund's taxable year. Distributions in excess of the fund's current and accumulated earnings and profits will be treated as return of capital. Such conditions may not continue to exist, and there should be no expectations that this performance will be repeated in the future. Great disclaimer. All right, but I see it working out so far. I don't see NAV erosion. So let's talk a little bit farther. Their assets under management has gone up, which is good. Their holdings, if you don't know, this is a synthetic. They do not hold the underlying, right? It's a synthetic strategy. As we continue to go down farther, they do weekly distributions, as we talked about. The last one was 51 cents, which is a great distribution. All right. If we go over what does QDTE different than other 0-day expirations. So what they do different is they do not hold the call overnight. They cash out at the end of the day and make settlement, and then anything that appreciates over the night or pre-market, they capture, which is a excellent strategy, because if you watch pre-market, generally there's some gains in pre-market that they're capturing before the opening and before they make their trade. They're actually making their trade on the NASDAQ 100 PM settled index options. All right. Most people probably do not know that this is settlement value symbols XQC. It's settled at 5:15 Eastern Standard Time. They make the call at 9:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. On today, they made a call at 18:09:10. That is when they made their call. If we go over, 18:09:10 is approximately 2% out of the money, is where they actually made their call. So the red line is the QCD. They made their call approximately 2% out of the money. All right, so that tells me that the NASDAQ from opening to close has to go up 2% for it to be in the money. So that's an interesting concept. Now that we know that it's approximately 2% out of the money, and that you can actually see this or track it using the XQC. You can download their daily to see it, so you can actually see and actually do the math to figure out what they're doing and what they're getting for strikes. Let's talk about I call it a hypothetical, but this is actually a real trade that I'm in. Put $50,000 into it. Last week they paid me 51 cents. On the 9th, they paid me $619.69. I take 20% of that and reinvest it back into QDTE. I take the other 80% as income for the week. I'm actually using this income to buy other things currently. In the future, that's actually going to be my income. I'm going to be tracking this every week. This is where I dispute what they're actually calculating for a percentage. I calculate average price since the start at $44.54 starting as of 8/11. I add up all the distributions that they've done and give me an average distribution. I take that average distribution against that average price and get 35%. If I take that 35% and I divide it by 52, I get my interest rate they're paying me on my money. Compounded weekly, $100,000 would give me approximately $42,000 a year in income. This is probably a lot more conservative than it needs to be, but I'm going to go this direction compared to hoping and praying. So 1 week is $678. And as you can see, the distributions have been all over the board. But I'm using an average of 30 cents because I'm taking every distribution, averaging it out for 30 cents to give me that number. Hopefully that's conservative enough. I'll update this sheet every week and I will let everybody know exactly where we're at, showing exactly how many shares, what was the income for the week, and what the value of the investment has gone to. Hopefully you like this type of content. So this is really for income investors, not really for growth investors. I can see growth investors being interested in it, but not going to recommend it or say that they should get into it. Actually, this is not financial advice, so I'm not saying anybody should get into it. But as an income investor, you can't turn away what this looks like. If you like this type of content, please feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.